And now a moment from Your History and Health Comes First with Dr. Richard Brown.
This is Dr. Richard Brown, and welcome back to Your History and Health Comes First. We're still in the month of August, and it is still hot. Today, though, I want to talk about some general information about staying healthy. So my title today is Health Advice for Healthy Living. Okay, and this advice comes from my lifelong experience in working in healthcare, influencing by my father, the education I've had, the teaching at the universities, working in the field, research that has been done. And so I've written blogs, I've written articles in various newspapers and magazines, and given talks to students and adults all across the country. But let me first begin with asking that we all accept that healthy living is about participating in daily health habits. Daily health habits. You can't just do something now and then, here and there, and expect to have a healthy lifestyle ongoing or have a healthy body. It's something that has to happen on a daily basis, and it comes through from having a particular habits that you exercise. So preventing illness and staying healthy means discontinuing bad habits, and that's bad habits that you formed all along the way and all during your lifetime. You don't even know why they're there in some cases. It could be that you were just following what your siblings were doing, or what your friends were doing, or what you were taught even in some of the education systems that you're in. But unhealthy habits include smoking, overeating, unhealthy eating, avoiding exercise, drinking alcohol, participating in risky behavior. Some people want to stop bad habits, but they can't seem to do so. They can't seem to stop the bad habits long enough to get some results. So why is that so hard? Well, it is hard. Believe me, it is hard to do the same thing every day in terms of having a healthy lifestyle. But I ran across back a few years ago when I was doing my blogs on a bi-weekly basis, ran across a National Institute of Health article. It was in the January issue 2012 of News and Health. And they provided an explanation for why it's so hard to give up bad habits. So it seems the answer lies with the human biology, according to Dr. Nora Volkow. She was the director of the National Institute of Health's drug abuse program. So people, she says, develop routine from habits through repetition. Okay, our behavior becomes automatic. Our brain can rest and focus on other things. Dopamine, a chemical that regulates movement, emotion, motivation, and pleasure, is released in the brain when something pleasurable happens. You should have heard about dopamine by now. Something positive happens, you laugh, you feel good. It's because dopamines are being released into your brain, and it causes you to feel pleasure. So a habit may be when you're not acting on that habit, but the dopamine creates the craving, so you do it anyway. You don't want to do it, but the dopamine kicks in because you think about doing this bad behavior, and it makes you excited, and so you go and do it anyway. So a psychologist by the name of Russell Hodrack, he was a neurobiology professor at the University of Texas. He explains why we may keep drinking soda or consuming salt, even though we know it's bad for us. According to the NIH article, there are 5 ways people can try to change these bad behaviors. Number 1, avoid tempting situations. If you're always drinking coffee and soda when you get to work, then you need to avoid the vending machine. You need to drink water. Number 2, replace unhealthy behavior with healthy people. And yeah, that's true, healthy ones, healthy behavior. healthy people too. So you learn to do some sit-ups or jumping jacks while watching TV. Every now and then, I know I do that because I've been preaching it, teaching it. And sometimes I'll find myself watching program after program, and I say, oh, I need to get up and do some exercise. So I'll do some jumping jacks or move around a bit just during the commercial. So do something that stimulates movement, and that'll keep you healthy. So number 3 is prepare mentally. So we know that world-class athletes are known for mentally practicing what they will do in order to win. So mentally practicing what you can do when faced with temptation or a situation that invites you to perhaps smoke or to do something else that you know you shouldn't be doing, you need to practice saying no. You might say, oh no, I'm going to eat some nuts or some berries, I'm going to do some yoga, or I'm going to walk some stairs. So you have to mentally get ready for when that temptation gets in front of you, that you got a speech, you got a statement, you got something that you're going to say to get you away from that. And number 4 is enlist support. It is important to have family members or other group people around that are seeking the same goals so that you can support each other. So you may ask family members or coworkers to help you make that change. Tell your husband or wife or boyfriend, girlfriend to pinch you on your ear or pull your hair when they see you making a poor choice about something. And then number 5, he said that you should reward yourself for small steps. If you lose 5 pounds, see a movie, get a full body massage, do something to reward yourself for achieving that particular goal. And I think that's real important because taking the concept that the dopamines make you feel good, in some cases when you even just think about it, then if you've got a reward, something that you really like to do, that you really want to do, and you get pleasure from, if you think about it, then that'll give you a certain amount of excitement and help get you past participating in this bad behavior that's going to make you unhealthy. So next is, what are some daily healthy habits that you should embrace and work on? And these have been around for lots and lots of years. As I mentioned, when I was doing my blogs way back in 2012, this is some of what I would publish in the newspaper. Number 1, eat fruits and vegetables every day. Now, if you're in a food desert, that's difficult. If you're not used to eating vegetables and fruit, that's difficult. If there's not a store around that provides that for you, it's difficult. I will say though that because of the lifestyle I have lived and the family I grew up in, my dad was, they used to call him health nuts. I did too, but really he's a health enthusiast. We ate fruits and vegetables every day. And today I eat fruits and vegetables every day, mostly fruits. And during the summer season, all the fruit from the farmer's market are just great. I just ate a peach today that was so sweet that it made me smile. The endorphins kicked in, and I was glad to be eating that peach because it tasted really good. Secondly, limit meat, chocolate, and junk food. Limit meat. Some people don't eat meat at all. They're called vegetarian. That's difficult to do for most people. But you can limit meat. And I certainly limit meat and have done so for the past, at least 15 years or more. Certainly haven't eaten pork since 1970. But chocolate has caffeine in it, and it stimulates you to move around. In some cases it's good, it wakes you up. But sometimes it causes you to want to do other things to get rid of that, I guess, anxiety and tension that is produced by drinking a lot of coffee. And so, and coffee keeps you up at night. Some cases you can't sleep well when you're drinking a lot of coffee. So that's one of the things that's identified, as something that you should be trying to do. And junk food, we know there's plenty of junk food, especially in the uninsured community, the poor communities. There's junk food everywhere. There's junk food all on TV. There's junk food, junk food, junk food, because the food industry makes billions and billions of dollars off of people who eat their junk food. And then the healthcare industry makes billions and billions of dollars off of people who eat the junk food because they have to come to see the doctor and go into the healthcare system to fix what the food industry broke in terms of you eating and participating in all that junk food. So junk food is a no-no, and it's hard not to have it unless you intentionally make sure that you buy stuff that you can eat as a snack that is not junk food, like fruit, carrots, and some vegetables. Number 4, exercise at least 3 times a week until you sweat. If you do not sweat, then you didn't get a whole lot of benefit out of the exercise. You got some benefit. You might have increased the heart rate a little bit, and that's good. But if you didn't sweat, then you did not receive maximum benefit. So you should sweat 3 times a week with that exercise. Now that's difficult for some people because they don't want to sweat. Sweating is a no-no. We were trained and raised to believe not to sweat. We were trained and raised to believe that we should be calm and cool and collected. And that's true in a lot of cases. But you got to take that opportunity to sweat too, because that's the system. That's the human body. That's the system that we have, that we live inside of. That's why we have pores. Pores is where the sweat comes out of, and it releases the toxins and the bad stuff from the system that the body can't use. But if you don't sweat, it just stays in there. It's just like all the meat that you eat. If you eat meat all the time, then it stays in there and it clogs up the arteries, clogs up the veins, and it increases the body's size because it needs more room for the meat to be stored in. So exercise 3 times a week if you can until you sweat. During the winter months, I lift some weights, hand weights, do some push-ups a little bit. It's difficult in the winter time, I must admit, because I like to participate in exercise in which you're participating in some type of sport. So during the summer, I play golf at least twice a week, sometimes 3. And I guarantee you, I sweat. And I feel good about that because I know that it's helping me to stay healthy. Number 5, if you smoke, stop. If you smoke, stop. Now that should be easy. The Surgeon General has made sure that there's a warning on the cigarette pack for the past 40 years. Well, 30, 35 years, that says smoking can lead to cancer. And we ignore it. So something's wrong with some people in terms of this habit forming and trying to break bad habits. It's hard to break habits when they make you feel good. So if you smoke, stop. And I've seen the lungs of people who smoked and the lungs of people who did not smoke in autopsies. The people's lungs who did not smoke are pink and rich looking and obviously healthy looking and allows proper oxygen and blood flow to occur. People who have smoked, their lungs are dark. They're dark and they're kind of rigid and hard. And so make no mistake, I don't know how and why civilization decided that smoking was a good thing to do. Well, I think I do know why. Because in the early days, the American Indian and developed in some other places too, they had these herbs, these plants, and when they smoked them, it made them feel good. It created the endorphins. And so then, well, we made it illegal in this country for a long time. And so the tobacco industry allowed and was able to produce cigarettes with nicotine in it, which is habit forming. And again, nicotine makes you feel good. I understand. I never smoked except 1 pack when I was in the military. That's all you had to do when you were in training. You would rest, And the sergeant would say, smoke them if you got them. And everybody had them except me. And so one time I bought a pack of cigarettes and I smoked 2 or 3 of them and I gave the rest of them away. It just was not for me. Number 6, drink more water and more water and more water every day, and definitely less soda. If you drink any soda, I would say stop drinking that. The average 8-ounce cans of soda has 10 spoons of sugar in it, especially Mountain Dew and Coca-Cola. Now picture this, would you sit in front of a table with a bag of sugar, that white pure cane sugar, and you would take 10 spoonsful and put it in your mouth? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 spoonfuls of sugar. You would not do that. There's something repulsive about that. Matter of fact, your body would reject that if you did that, but it's in the cans of soda. That's why it causes a lot of problems in terms of increasing weight, in terms of having a bad effect on your pancreas, which helps to develop diabetes. So soda is not good for you. Number 7, if you're having a baby, breastfeed for at least 6 months. Once again, modern day society got away from breastfeeding, and now there has, in the past couple of months, been a shortage on baby formula because most moms are on baby formula. And because of the war in Ukraine and other things, baby formula became short. Matter of fact, I understand now, as I talked with somebody the other day, that you can't walk in the store and buy baby formula off the shelf anymore. It's locked up like the narcotics. I say, what? Shows you how things have gotten. And even before that, though, you never saw on the shelves in stores human milk, did you? How is it that human milk is repulsive for being in the store on the shelf? You will drink goat's milk, cow's milk at the store on the shelf. Never seen a human milk. Now, there's many reasons because of that. The reason for that has to do with human beings and what we do to our bodies, which make human milk in the grocery store not necessarily safe. But it may get to that when we wake up at some point. So number 8, reduce sugar, sweetened drinks, and caffeine. I mentioned that already. Number 9, look for things to laugh about daily and avoid people and situations that cause negative stress. Okay, science says you should laugh 16 times a day. It releases the stress, it creates endorphins and dopamine, and makes you feel good. Number 10, you should establish relationships with a medical provider and have an annual physical examination. Now, if you don't have a medical provider that you can go to regularly, then you should find one. And I mentioned in another podcast that community health centers, which are located in all the cities across the country and in some rural areas, are places where you can go and find a medical home, you can find a medical provider, you can find someone who you can see on a regular basis, and definitely can get an annual physical, whether you can afford it or not. That's in the community health center. So finally, I want to talk about protecting the largest organ of your body. The largest organ of your body. The human species is a phenomenal animal that can adapt to most any climate. And over time, our skin, which is the largest organ, our skin sees scars and blisters and lumps and bumps, itching, redness, roughness, flaking, and annoying problems. These symptoms are commonly caused by dermatitis, which is, inflammation of the skin. So although the skin is not the first thing that you think about when you think about human organs, it is actually the largest one. And the skin consists of 3 layers: the epidermis, which is the outer layer, the dermis, which is the middle layer, and the subcutaneous inner layer. The skin serves as a shield that protects our other organs against foreign substances and environmental elements. It also functions as a portal to excrete toxins and waste products from the body. I mentioned that before, that the skin, because of its pores, allows toxic waste and impurities to be excreted from the body through sweat. It's sort of like the kidneys. The skin reacts to various change, and it appearance changes for a number of reasons. And so it reacts to food, it reacts to mold, the skin reacts to plants and chemicals and sunlight. It reacts to wind and drugs and alcohol, perfumes, cosmetics, and certain metals. And so the skin is a super important organ there. Stress and chronic tension can also cause skin reactions. So what can you do to protect your skin and prevent from developing various rashes and skin cancer? There's several things you can do. Here's some common recommendations. First of all, you should always consult your physician before trying any of these things that you hear about, or that even I may talk about here, that is asking you to do something to yourself, your body. So check with your local physician, or find one. So add brown rice and millet to your diet. Instead of white rice, brown rice. Number two, avoid dairy products. This is another something that people have difficulty doing. Dairy products are not necessarily good for your skin, and it's not good for your body in general if you do a lot of it, because it creates problems. Sugar, I mentioned, white flour. You should also eliminate food containing gluten. Now, we didn't hear nothing about gluten until about 10 years ago. Now we hear a lot about gluten. That's because science progresses and it gets better. Lots of research take place. And so when we learn, we do better. Again, focusing on the skin, some of the bubble baths that are used can irritate the skin, and that's not good for you. You can add vitamin B to your dietary supplement. That helps with your skin. And drinking herbal teas such as golden seal, dandelion, red clover. I mean, my dad introduced me to golden seal, I guess, when I was a teenager. I mean, he had shelves and shelves and shelves of herbs and spices and books and stuff on healthy living. And I was just raised on that. And so it's just a natural for me. So don't overdo the sun. It's really hot out there these days during the summer. And so skin can be damaged during the summer when the sun is shining bright. We get vitamin D from the sun, so it's good for us. I mean, the sun warms the earth, it warms the plant, it helps plants to grow. But you can get some serious problems from being in the sun. When I went to the World Series, College World Series, I saw a group of fellas sitting in front of me. They had their shirts off. And I was wondering, I wonder if they know how much the rays of the sun is affecting them. And as I looked around, there were many people in the audience, in the stands with their shirt off. They were all men, of course. And it was about 1:30 in the afternoon. And so the sun was beaming hot. But they didn't know what the damage was. And they didn't know that 90% of the people who have skin problems or exposed kids that are exposed to a lot of sun in their younger days will have skin problems and possibly skin cancer later on in their life. And so to protect yourself against the sun, it's obvious you got to stay out of it as much as you possibly can and minimize your exposure to maybe about 15 minutes. And eat lots of good food enriched in vitamin E. You should wear a hat, sunglasses, do sunscreen. And babies under 6 months should never have sunscreen placed on their skin. Never, ever. Never be exposed to direct sunlight. And you should avoid tanning salons. They will damage your skin and it might look pretty at the moment. But later on, that skin will be so wrinkled and ugly that you will wish you were in another body, another set of skin. So, as I come to the end of my time today, I just want to say that the human body is a phenomenal specimen, and it survives by eating good food, exercise. The human being can only survive about 5 weeks without eating any food, but it can only survive 5 days without drinking any water. Water is the miracle liquid. Water is a miracle liquid. There are many kinds of water available to humans. You just have to make sure that it is not contaminated, and you should drink plenty of it. And people talk about how much water should you drink. Well, you should drink, they have been saying 8 glasses of water a day, or 4 16-ounce bottles of water. And you should drink that. That is good for you. But and I've heard this from someone else, I think you should drink as much water as you want to, and drink as much water until your pee is clear. It's not yellow, it's not brown, it's clear. That means maybe perhaps you drank enough water. And water is good for all of us. It consists of 1 atom of oxygen and 2 atoms of hydrogen. Okay, and 3/4 of the Earth's surface is covered in water. And water is a liquid that comes from the sky. It creates our ponds, our streams, our lakes, and the sea. Water is odorless, it is tasteless in its natural form, and in thick layers, it appears blue. Now, it will freeze at 32 degrees, and it will boil at 100 degrees. So, water is the miracle liquid that we should all be drinking all the time and never, ever, ever do without it. And so today, what I've talked about is healthy living, how to stay healthy. And if you follow those rules, I guarantee you, you may live longer than you expect. So always remember, your health and history comes first. This is Dr. Brown, and I'll see you around.
This has been Your History and Health Comes First with Dr. Richard Brown. And you can leave suggestions at ewcfacts@gmail.com. That's ewcfacts@gmail.com. This has been an EWC Communication production.